Hey guys, today I am recording my first video for this new channel, and I just wanted to talk about what I personally believe is the biggest problem with Lego Star Wars, and really just Lego in general these days, but mostly Star Wars. I think it is what I have the most exposure to, and it is what I see this as the biggest problem with. And that is the pricing of sets. I know everybody's complaining about that. Why would you care about my opinion about that? Everyone knows these sets are expensive. Well, I have a bit of a different perspective on it, and a different reasoning, I should say, more so than perspective, than a lot of people have, that I've seen online. Most people I see online, it is, I can't afford these sets. These sets are too expensive for me, which is totally valid. I don't want to discredit that reasoning. I want cheaper sets. You want cheaper sets. Everyone wants cheaper sets except Lego. But sets like this is where it just gets absolutely absurd to me. And this thing is tiny for $45. I remember when $45 sets boxes were this big. Like, you'd get this for $45. I'll talk more about that one in a second. I just wanted to give that little example there. But these sets, as you can see here, are made for 7-year-olds. No 7-year-old is going to have $45. I shouldn't say no. Jeff Bezos' son has $45. But most 7-year-olds are not just going to be able to go out and get a $45 toy, especially not something like this. Especially right now, things are rough out there. $45 for something that I can almost palm, and I have small hands. I can't palm a basketball, but I can almost palm this thing. It doesn't feel great. And it probably doesn't feel great for people that are buying gifts. Especially when you have this sitting right next to it on the shelf. Now, I can't speak for everyone's Target. I can't speak for everyone's Walmart. But at the Targets and Walmarts around me, these two, because they look so similar, are right next to each other. Like, even if you look at the box arts, there's logo, build, figures. Like, the box art design is almost mirrored. Because you have, I'm not gonna look into the box art that much, but these sets are that's how similar they are, is it goes down to the box art if you really look into it. This one is almost twice as much as what this one is currently selling for. You can find this one, I know the MSRP is $30, you can find this thing all day for $24. You might even be able to find it cheaper if you're lucky. I haven't seen it below $24, but I'm sure it's happened. This thing is $45. I haven't seen it go on sale yet. I saw one screenshot of a Walmart having it for $30 on release weekend, but it's one screenshot. Somebody's probably found this thing for $5 out there. One person I'm sure has. But just the idea of your grandma going out for Christmas and seeing these two things on the shelf next to each other. What is she gonna do? Buy you one of this or two of this? It's a no-brainer for most people. And especially I was saying before, for kids, a kid can probably go ask his neighbor to mow the lawn. A kid can probably go wash some windows and get $20. 45 is a lot bigger of an ask, especially when you say that your target demographic for these sets is still 7 years old, or I don't know, 9 years old, 5 years old, whatever you're marketing the sets as. In the case of these battle packs, it's 7. I'm sure some of the bigger play sets, like the Turbo Tank, is another egregious one out there. I'm sure that one's probably 9. I don't know. I probably should have checked on that before I recorded, but I honestly just didn't. That, I believe, is the highest they go for play sets is 9. Correct me if I'm wrong. But if they are doing this for these sets and also lowering the quality of them, now I am not the biggest person for everything has to be 100% accurate, everything has to be this, everything has to be that. I'll be honest, I don't really care about helmet holes. I know that's a big problem people have, and it's a big thing of them lowering the quality of these sets with the helmet holes and all that. But they don't really bother me, I'll be honest. Would I prefer that they don't exist? Probably. I have a few of I have the 501st Troopers from the 2020 set, and those ones do look better than the Grogu Escape ones that I have. I think that's the name of the set. It's the speeder with Kelleran Beck and Grogu and the 2501st. But they look slightly better. And if you just think about the reasoning of why LEGO is including these helmet holes for customization and just for ease of use for them having to transfer them over from set to set, if they need to actually have those holes for a figure, not just for, I want to throw a rangefinder on my 501st Trooper, it makes total sense. They don't want to make two molds. That's a bit of an unrealistic expectation, in my opinion. Ignoring these absurd prices. If the prices weren't what they are right now, I would be completely on the side of that's an absurd expectation to have. If you want to charge $45 for a battle pack, I think people have every right to expect those two different molds. Like I said, they don't personally bother me, but that's just a complaint I see a lot of people have. Now, the waistcape thing. Printed wastegapes are hideous. They look so bad. Cloth wastegapes are infinitely better, but they just don't include them for some reason. They include these oversized pauldrons, which don't look that great in my opinion. Like, I see a lot of people saying they look really great. In my opinion, they don't look that great. I prefer the cloth ones, even though the plastic ones are probably in theory higher quality. There's just something about those cloth ones that hit different for me. The cloth ones have always looked the best in my opinion, even if they are a bit oversized and people complain about that with accuracy and all that. I don't really care. And again, it's a LEGO set. It's not going to be 100% accurate. They will never get to that point. If you want 100% accuracy, go buy Black Series, go buy some other action figure line from Hasbro or whoever makes them. I'm not into the action figures. I don't know who makes them. But something else that I had thought about with this is this set here. This is just an example I have of an older battle pack. It's kind of crazy to say older at this point. I think this was 2019 or 2020. Kind of crazy to say older at this point. This set was released 12 years ago. 2020 was that long ago. This set was $15 when it was on shelves. That is about $18 in today's money. Which, if they were just gradually increasing these sets over time, like say this was, I mean, it's 258 pieces. I think $30 for this is not an unrealistic ask, especially where you're getting two decent builds and the extra battle droids on top of that, which let's say that makes it 5 figures because battle droids aren't real figures. Let's say that's 5 figures out of the battle pack. I don't think $30 is a crazy ask for this. I think this set was pretty fairly priced. And you can find them for $24 all day now. I think $24 for this is a fantastic deal. Again, I don't care about helmet holes. I think this is probably the closest thing we're going to get to a perfect battle pack these days. Obviously, yes, there have been better battle packs. There have been probably 5 I can name just off the top of my head. There is... This one I think is better. There's all the clone ones from the early 2000s or late 2000s, the 07, 09, 2011, and 2012 ones. Those ones are all better than this. But as far as what we're going to be getting today, this is the absolute peak of what we're going to be getting today, especially if this is what's next. Because if this becomes a regular thing, I know a lot of people are going to be rethinking just this as a hobby in general, especially for their kids. Like, parents are going to be getting their kids into these sets if they're costing them like a battle pack was a floor set. If the floor sets are now pushing used AAA game prices, that is absurd. Like, what am I gonna? Obviously, game systems have the consoles and all that. Like, if you are just buying the game outright, you're not gonna be able to do anything with it. But if you already have, say, a PlayStation or a Nintendo Switch, and your kid sees a used copy of the latest Pokemon game, a used copy of the latest Madden, something like that, and then that's set on the shelves, what feels better to buy? The game that they're gonna get dozens, if not hundreds of hours out of, if you're someone like me where you can play those games for hours and hours on end, um, or a battle pack that they're probably going to play with for 30 minutes. If you're counting the build, an hour. Like, it's just not it these days with what they're doing with these prices. And I haven't even really gotten to the Turbo Tank, the MTT. Those are two other ones that are pretty egregious in this wave. The Snow Speeder, it's not great. That one, the $55 Snow Speeder, it's very unique. That one is nowhere near the biggest problem in the wave. But the $160 Turbo Tank is by far one of the worst price points I've ever seen placed on a set. That thing is, I believe, 813 or 819. I think 813 pieces though, for $160. It is basically 20 cents per piece, which price per piece does not matter. But when you are getting to the point of 20, like you just look at something like that, and again, it doesn't really matter. But just mentally, the idea of that is terrible. When you have other sets, other themes that are giving you more pieces for significantly less money. Like, it's out of frame, but I have the R2-D2 buildable character up on the top of that shelf. That is, I believe MSRP was $100, and you can find it all day for $80. That thing has, I think, 1,050 pieces, and that is almost 250 more than the Turbo Tank for, on what you can find it on sale for, half the price. Like, just what they're giving us is so terrible, and the quality of, in most cases, the quality of the builds has improved. I will give them that. Build quality with the MTT versus the Turbo Tank is like night and day. I own the MTT. I don't have it right in arm's reach of me. But that set, in absence of price, we get rid of price entirely. That set is incredible. I will give them that. I love the MTT. I have the 07 one right there. That thing is incredible. The new one is incredible. If the new one was $100, it would be one of the best sets I've seen them release in probably the last 10 years. Like 2014 was the peak of LEGO Star Wars for me. 2013 to 2014, even 2012 in there. They had some incredible sets that year. But that set is, in my opinion, so great. And they just ruined it by making it cost like $40, $50, even $60, depending on your perspective of how LEGO values sets, more than it should be. In my opinion, it's like a $120 set, but it's $160. That was the only reason I bought it. I found it like 3-4 days early at Target. I bought it early because I just loved that vehicle. I loved the MTT. It was one of my grail sets growing up. I didn't get the 2007 one up there until maybe a year or two ago, and I paid like $300 aftermarket at a reseller, and that felt good. So that's probably why the $160 for the new one didn't feel that bad. So I just had that different perspective on it, where I was like, oh, here's an MTT for half the price of what I paid for my previous one. But I am completely getting off track here, just talking about random sets. Back to the Turbo Tank. I have never been more disappointed in a set reveal than that one. I have wanted a Turbo Tank for a while now. The last one that was released was 2016. I was out of LEGO at that point. I had other hobbies while I was in high school. I was playing a bunch of different games. I was heavily into card games at that time. So I was out of LEGO at that point. The previous one before that, I believe, was 2010, and I believe it was $100 at the time. I just didn't have $100 to spend on LEGO sets when I was 8-9 years old. I'm sure most people don't, and I consider myself pretty lucky with some of the sets I was able to get that time. I made some very good choices with the sets I picked up. I'm very happy with what I was able to do, but I didn't get a turbo tank then. And the 2005 one, I was too young. I didn't get into Lego until a year or two later. I have some sets from 2006. Those are the earliest memories I have of Legos. So the 2005 one may have still been on shelves, but I never got it. But I was so excited to hear that they were making a new turbo tank. Even though at first the price was really bad, I was like, oh, they must have like molded wheels or something. Because if it was $160 with the 800 something pieces and all 800 pieces were in the body, I think that would be fine if they had like huge molded wheels like that. I think that would be fine. Just because, like, again, it's a Star Wars set. It's going to be more expensive. It's realistically probably a $120 set for $160 with those big molded wheels. And then you have the 800 piece body. If I had to guess, that's probably a similar amount to the body of some of the older builds. But they didn't do that. They took probably 100 pieces of the set and put those into the wheels. And then tried to sell it for $160 when you have the older ones that just have the big molded wheels for $100. I think the 2005 one was $90. I might be incorrect about that, but you had some of the old ones that were $90, $100. I think the 2016 was $120, I want to say. And now this one is $160 for something that, again, I don't own, but I think is roughly like this big, plus the wheels on the bottom. That is just so terrible when you compare it to some other things that you can buy in that price point. For $160, you can get, if you really want to, you can get 3.5 of these. You can get like 6 of these. You can get half of that. You can get half of the Jango Slave one. Like 2 of those turbo tanks versus 1 of that. That's absurd. Just what they're doing is just so far out there and so detached from reality that people are finally starting to get fed up with it. And that makes me, I don't want to say happy to see, because it's just it's just not a great situation. But it makes me really happy to see that people are finally fed up with the borderline predatory nature of these price increases. And the turbo tank and this new battle pack are really waking people up with this. And I'm just hoping that this video, if somebody out there happens to see it that works for Lego, I doubt it. It wouldn't surprise me if I upload this and I look the next day and it's at 3 views or 0 views. Probably 0 views, because who am I? But yeah, if somebody out there is watching, it's just too much. Like, you're talking about a hobby that's just supposed to be a little collectible for kids. Like, they get a little set for their birthday. They get a little set after mowing the lawn. They get a set after doing chores around the house, dusting, washing the windows, I don't know, cleaning the toilets. They get a battle pack or something. Like, that was what it was back in the day. Like, I have this one here, the 2013 Sith Trooper one here. I have the rest of the figures here. This thing was $13 back in the day. I could get that off of mowing my neighbor's lawn. I could get that. If I was getting that today, it would take me 3 weeks to save up for these new sets. Just the battle packs. Like, that's absurd. And I feel bad for the kids out there that have to save up for these sets. And then all they get is, I don't want to say junk, because the sets are not bad, with a few exceptions. The turbo tank is just, I think, objectively bad. But it just feels so bad that they just keep almost like a K-shape. The prices are going like this, the quality is going down on a lot of things. UCS sets are a complete exception. UCS sets lately have been incredible. I have no complaints about those, but those are meant to be expensive. They have always been expensive. Even looking back a few years, like, they've always been pricey. That's the point. They're targeted at adults. These sets are targeted at kids, and they need to be affordable for those kids. I get it that the Lego population has become a lot older. I'm very young, but I'm not a kid. I'm not the target age group. If you go back 10 years, the target age group was almost probably 90% kids. And then the other 10% was people like me, people a bit older than me. You look now, it's probably like 50-50. And I think there's a reason for that. And it's just because these kids can't afford these sets. And then as people in my age group and a bit older grow even older, they're going to get out of the Legos. And then what's going to happen to the brand when you have, let's say my generation, there was, say, just completely pulling numbers out here, you had 500,000 people in my generation because they targeted kids, that half of them grew up to collect Legos. You have 250,000 people that are buying your product now. If you have this 50-50 split, you have 100,000 kids now that are buying Lego. In 10 years, they get back into it after they graduate because it's not the weird nerdy thing to do anymore. You have, say, 50,000 people going forward. That's a fifth of what you had before. So yeah, like I said, just completely pulling those numbers out, and they are probably way undershooting. There's definitely more than 500,000 people buying Lego sets these days. But if they want to keep it that way, keep it with these absurd numbers, they have to start lowering prices or heavily increasing quality. Just some of these sets lately have been terrible. And I think I've been going on long enough. I think I've gotten my point across. If you want to skip till the end, long story short, I think Lego is completely pricing out kids. And in the short term, that might make them a lot of money because people like me are going to buy the sets anyway. And I know that's a problem, but it's an addiction. But in the long term, it is going to hurt their business, in my opinion, severely. Because you'll have people that are just quitting the hobby because they don't want to pay these prices, or sadly might not be able to afford them. And that's just the way life goes. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. Leave your opinion in the comments if you disagree with me, if you agree with me. I have a feeling this isn't a very hot take, so hopefully won't be a lot of disagreements. I think pricing is the one thing that everyone can agree on. I don't think anyone's going out there like, yeah, let's raise the prices. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you like this type of content, I will hopefully be doing more discussion videos in the future. I don't really want to do like reviews or anything. Like, why would you watch my review if you could watch someone else's type thing? I want to do something a little bit more unique. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a comment if you agree or disagree with me, and like the video and subscribe if you want to see more. Thank you guys for watching. Have a great day.